Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of It's Not Only Football, Friday Night Lights and Beyond. Today, we are covering Season 2, Episode 1, Last Days of Summer. Zach?
Tammy has a baby, and Coach isn't there until he is. Amy's shady with Matt, Amy a.k.a. Julie, and there's a Nordic fella getting in his way. Matt's also pouting because he's losing his captaincy to Smash. Smash is living his best life. Riggins is doing Rigginsy things just like always. Lyla finds God. And it's, there's some other details, but that's a lot of it.
What a wonderful recap from Zach to start us out on Season 2. Now, we've talked a lot about going into Season 2 back when we were covering Season 1. I think there was a little bit of dread. I may or may not be in black today. May or not be in black today. And Zach, even though he promised would be in a new outfit today, is still in the Season 1 get-up. What is going on?
Well, I said, should I do this on or off camera? And you guys said on camera.
Yeah.
So
we like a reveal.
Here's the big reveal, guys. Okay,
Let's see. Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
He's going all
You're gonna like this,
slow.
everybody.
Everybody that listens to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, anybody who listens to us, you might want to go to YouTube just for this one moment, this one time, to see the changing of the...
This is the only time you're ever going to see the top of his
All right,
head.
guys. I'm going to put my cock on the table.
He means his hat, everyone.
This is my new hat. It is black. It's a
Oh.
puppy dog with a moon, and it says dog. And then the best part, the piece de resistance.
Oh, my...
Ew, what the hell is that? Ew.
There we
You
go,
guys, this is really bad.
He's got
What's
an
happening?
astronaut dog hat and a tiger stripe sweater.
And it's
I
velour.
mean,
Our producer just walked into the
money
booth
laundering
and
business
saw
out of it.
Zach and said, "Oh, Jesus." Hi, Gabby. How you doing? Well,
God, it has a zipper.
welcome into It's Not Only Football. You are joined by Mae Whitman, Scott Porter, and the Tiger King. Moving on to Season 2. This episode was written by Jason Katims, directed by Jeffrey Reiner. That's the Dream Team. We don't need to talk about all their accolades. We had said it plenty when we were covering Season 1. We like to start every single episode out by asking one question. Everybody out there, and my two co-hosts, if this episode, Last Days of Summer, was not only football, what was it for you? Does anybody want to start, or we want me to go?
Memories.
Memories.
Because I realized I don't remember a lot of stuff that happened on this show. So apparently I have
So the opposite
a
of
terrible memory. I'll just out myself. We'll get into it, but just a little story. I remember at the end of Season 1 when Tammy got pregnant, I was like, oh my God, I don't remember this. Oh, right, baby Gracie. They had a baby the whole rest of this show. It was never serviced with a good storyline.
You forgot about the baby, but you also
forgot about my
that you've
sister-in-law.
told us about the baby for the last 3 episodes in a row. We've heard that story over and over again, but I'm going to leave it in just for the audience, the listening audience. Mae, what was this episode for you if it was not only football?
Well, I just have to say, side note, I can't believe, I probably would have forgotten about baby Gracie as well, but I couldn't because I could never forget the line where Amy Teagarden says, "Why is her head so pointy?" I think that is really funny. Okay, so if it's not only football, which it is not, it is, for me, it's about the fact that I must just be really horny, but I thought everybody just looked so hot in this episode.
Well, we did
I was
just
like
come back from our
everybody.
break, right?
Yeah, you guys look healthy, you're glowing, you're hot, good haircuts, great wardrobe, everybody's got tans, they're all looking good, everybody's seeming rested. I was like, this is a hot little group of hotties.
20-somethings.
You know what I'm saying?
What happens usually between a Season 1 and a Season 2 of a show is you have something called a hiatus. We weren't sure if we were going to get picked up or not. I was pretty sure we wouldn't, but we ended up getting picked up. We knew during upfronts, right? There was this archaic thing called upfronts that happens. So we shoot so fast that we ended in February. And so we had a big hiatus. Usually a show shoots until May, and then you're back at the end of July, early August. But we had a really big hiatus. Zach, do you remember what you did in between season 1 and season 2?
I do remember what I did. I went and led kids backpacking and sailing and all sorts of scuba diving in Australia and New Zealand.
All right.
I don't buy it. I just don't believe you.
Oh,
I'm
believe it.
sorry.
That would be a pretty
Believe
abstract
it.
lie.
It really would.
Like, why?
Zach was one of my best friends on the show, and actually probably my best friend from the cast.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk at all on hiatus because you were off the grid in a serious way.
Wow.
I actually did 2 movies.
Yeah.
I did Prom Night,
What a braggart.
then I did Speed
Yeah.
Racer.
Oh, that's a brag.
Jesus.
Whole movie called Speed Racer.
Yeah, that
Pick
was.
up those names you just dropped.
Oh,
Lord.
sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I was
Prom
super stoked
night.
to have the opportunity to keep working. So I jumped at both of those, and so I went to shot at Sony here in Los Angeles, and then went to Berlin for Speed Racer, which was a
What's
ton
prom
of
night
fun.
again?
Prom Night was Brittany Snow and Jonathan Sheck, Idris Elba.
Oh,
little-
I love Idris Elba.
Yeah. He was DJing at night and playing the detective during the day. I got to see him spin some records, as the kids say. I don't think that's what the kids say.
That's not what they say.
Oh, I didn't even say what my It's Not Only Football was.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I was too busy dropping names.
Busy bragging.
My Not Only Football is, what show am I watching? There were just so many huge changes that we just get smacked with so suddenly in the beginning of the episode. I mean, there's a new coach. Landry is
forgot
all of
about
a sudden
that.
playing football. There's no
Remembered
Waverly. A baby has been born. Saracen and Julie are suddenly not like cool or together. There's some nurse in Grandma Saracen's house. I mean, listen, some things made complete sense. Riggins reverts to his old drunken ways. Lyla finds God. Sure. But even those were big changes from where we ended on season 1. So,
Well, you got to remember, season 1 ends in December,
yeah.
and now it's, September.
Yeah.
So,
August.
I mean,
September.
You think about your
a
Christmas
lot.
break, your freshman year of high school, or sophomore year or whatever, and then the following when you're the next year up, like a lot changes.
It sure does. And it did for all of the characters here. And it set the tone for us so that we understood we would not follow these people outside of football season for the rest of the series. It's kind of like a rule they established here, right?
Yeah, every
We
season's
only-
a season.
Every season is a season of the show. Every football season is a season of the show, which I think is really brave and really cool and really smart. And they trusted the viewers enough to go, they'll catch up.
Yeah.
Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like you come back from summer break, you can't catch up with all your friends on day 1.
No.
They'll eventually figure it out, right?
Takes
You
time.
gotta let some things slip through the cracks,
In the
Takes
script,
time.
the episode opens with
Not us.
Tammy giving birth. There's a huge scene where Coach is not there, and then he finally comes in, and then he gives her like a halftime pep talk while she's trying to give birth.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you kidding me? I've got my legs in stirrups. I've been pushing for 9 hours, and you're going to come in here and give me some shit like you would give Riggins at halftime? Shut up. Like, it's not there. Instead, we get a very expository scene from Landry and Saracen, delivered in a really awesome way.
Yeah, it's like
but
an information
great.
dump.
yeah,
To T-Rex. It's like one of my favorite bands.
Right?
It's an excellent T-Rex. We love T-Rex. And like, it's got that summer groove to it. Everybody's at the pool. You're kind of like, it's the perfect time where you as like an observer are kind of seeing like what's changed. We're scoping the sitch. How's Smash? He's over there. Riggins is manning the SS Tatas, as you said, which I
Was
could
that
not
scripted or
believe.
no?
no.
I came back and I rewatched that like 4 times and I was like, did he say what I thought he just said? And then you also see one of my personal favorite storylines that's happening here, which is everyone's all abuzz about the Swede, quote unquote, is this new guy in town. Apparently he's Swedish, or he's somehow.
That's
he
just what they
doesn't-
call him.
And you're upset about it.
I'm watching my girlfriend check out another guy.
Yeah. Checking out Swedish people. I don't understand why she's over there staring at Swedish people.
Yeah, I don't
No,
get
it
it.
is.
And
Why
then-
not Swedish people?
There's no better way to open the season than you and Landry. None of this is in the script, actually. I think they added this scene after they had put this script together. I think they realized, let's just put this little, button right at the beginning of the episode.
Kind of know where everyone's at.
Yeah, where everybody's at. And he says, do you really want some advice from me? Because you're not going to be happy with what I say. Why do you think
that.
she's staring at that guy? I mean, maybe you should just go punch him in the face. sometimes you got to ask yourself, WWRD.
What would Riggins do?
Very cool.
Yeah, I love that whole scene. You're like, when did Smash become a tool? Like, basically.
Yeah.
You know, apparently Smash is on his cocky high horse again. Riggins is. So some people have taken steps back, and including Saracen and Julie. But
Yeah,
we'll get,
it's like some people like to brag about the movies they did. Some people win a
Right.
state championship. We all do different things.
yeah, we all do different things.
Moral of the story.
And then Tammy gets in the, Tammy crashes the party. She comes to Julie's place of work, which is like a no-no, because Julie is now the lifeguard at this pool, and she just shows up. Now, when I was in high school, I played basketball for Lake Howell High School my freshman year, but then decided I was just going to play for the Lake Howell football team, but I still want to play basketball, so I played summer ball in a couple of club leagues. And a coach looked at me and the team they had put together that I was supposed to play on, and he said, I'm not wasting my time with this. I quit. He didn't want to coach us. We were like outcasts and what looked like not all that talented group of kids. And my mom, who was pregnant with my little sister at the time, stood up and said, nobody's going to coach these young men? Nobody here is going to step up to coach these young men? You're all cowards. I will coach these young men. My mom didn't know anything about basketball, and I was mortified.
How'd your team
right?
do?
We made it to the championship
you
because
go.
my
Oh
mom
my.
went to the library and she picked up John Wooden's Fundamentals of Basketball VHS tape series as well as the book he wrote, and then taught us according to John Wooden, who coached UCLA to a number of national titles, is one of the most famous coaches in NCAA men's basketball history. And we made it to the championship.
Look at
This
you
little
guys.
group of outcasts that a coach quit on day one. But you should have seen my mom walking up and down that sideline, pregnant. No ref wanted to argue with her. Anyway, I digress. Tammy gets in the pool, her water breaks, and we are off to the races. What do you think about the scene in the hospital with her and Coach?
I dug it. I liked it.
I did too.
No, it's simple. That's all, it's like what I always say. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't need the big speech, the whatever. It's
It makes him look like a tool if he's like coaching his wife through her pregnancy. It becomes this very sweet, very loving
exactly.
moment between the two of them. And I got to say, I've seen a lot of women pretend to give birth. I've seen my own wife give birth twice. Like,
Done it.
I've seen Connie nailed it. Like,
She's great.
Just crushed it, as she always does.
And then baby Gracie comes into the world. And no one ever writes for her.
No one ever writes. What are they going to write for a baby?
I'm kidding. That's why I forgot about
Can we give
her.
you some lines, you stiff 4-month-old?
She has that close up. She's got a long close up at the end.
That's
and,
true.
Like, cool it.
That is true.
They go home. They take the baby
Oh,
home.
that place is a dump.
Julie hasn't cleaned up. She's got her eyes elsewhere.
Those two women live like Neanderthals.
One of them is pregnant, and the other one is too focused on the Swede. What do you want from
the
them?
husband is off zooming around being like, football, football, football. Like, come on.
No, hey, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I mean, come on, Julie could do
Yeah.
something.
You're
Yeah,
good.
and she should have. She is very disrespectful in this particular scene. But
she's upset right now. She's going through something. She's definitely
Yeah.
having a teen moment. So,
look, my sister was born on my 15th birthday. My sister and I share a birthday, July 14th.
Wow.
15 years and
Wow.
10 minutes apart, my mom gave birth.
That's
If we roll it
crazy.
back like 10 months, it takes you to October 3rd, which is my mom's birthday. So after that, I was like, hey, Mom, can you stop, the thing with you and Dad on your birthday so we don't
Oh,
get another one next year?
Jesus.
Anyway, I mean, as a 14-year-old guy, I was like only child. I was super stoked. I had like my allowance all locked in. I had done negotiations with my parents for the, report card and everything. And I had just warmed up to the idea of being an only child. And then my sister came home. But unlike Julie, like my sister and I became super close like right away. I was built-in babysitter. I watched her all the time. So I guess I do get Julie a little bit and like the surprise of now all of a sudden there's an addition to the family when you're going through whatever
Yeah,
you're going
that's
through
a
at 15.
transition. But
Yeah.
being shady on Matt Saracen, that I don't understand.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't
we
understand that
get it.
either. I love that scene. Tammy says, "Say hi to the Swede for me." He's like, who is the Swede? What happened to the Saracen?
What happened to the Saracen?
Unscripted, beautiful line. Thank you.
good.
Welcome back, Kyle Chandler. And yeah, she says, "Look, he's, he's a guy that Julie's flirting with while she's still with Saracen. So welcome home, sweetheart. We immediately crash into football practice with another. I'm like, who is this person? Coach MacGregor, the Tennessee Tyrant, just putting you guys through your paces.
Oh, my God.
I love that actor, Chris Mulkey. He's great.
Yes.
He's awesome. He was great. But it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, right, we had another coach for a little while. Like, when I saw Kyle, again, at the end of season 1, when he takes the job, I was like, what happens where, like, he doesn't go, he becomes our coach. Like, I totally forgot that we had a chunk of time without Kyle.
Yeah. And it was jarringly different. Practices are run completely different. He is hard on everyone. And this whole storyline, like, they took a ton of stuff out of this episode to focus on other things. We had to get to a murder, so
I
there's
kept it out of my recap. I didn't want to spoil anything.
There's a whole story. We've been talking about it all season 1. I don't know anybody out there who cannot be spoiled at this point. He immediately decides he's going to run the entire offense through Smash, and it explains a lot about what we see in the episode if this would have stayed in. He rips the captaincies off of Riggins because Riggins has reverted. He's a little drunk now. Saracen has lost all of his confidence, and he takes the captaincy away from you and Riggins. He makes Smash the only captain, which explains why Smash is so cocky throughout this entire episode. There's a number of scenes with Coach Mulkey and the players, and it's really kind of put Matt into a funk as far as scripted. None of that is in the actual episode. So what we do see is a big fight between Riggins and Coach MacGregor, after which he makes him run steps until he pukes, after which he calls Jason Street a mascot in the office, which really pissed me off.
I'm sure it did.
You will be glad to know that in that scene, I talked about how special Matt Saracen is.
Did you tell him about Bob Dylan?
Told him all about Bob Dylan. They cut that out, which I was so damn thankful for. But I try to tell him, this is how you need to handle Riggins. He's going to be your best player if you just treat him in this way. And he tells me, well, you got to decide, son. You can't be their friend and a coach. It's going to be one or the other. So you make your decision. I was like,
facts.
Oh, shit.
I'm scared.
There's no emotion behind my eyes. I'm just floored in that scene. And that's really all you see of that storyline in the episode itself. So I just figured we'd finish out the Tennessee Tyrant's new introduction, I guess, because in the script he's really, really apparent, and I think it actually informs a lot of what happens. But anyway, I digress.
You didn't digress. You stayed on topic.
Oh.
It's Not Only Football is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Yo, whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews, news, or even motivational speakers, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue, right? And guess what? Now you can call the shots on your auto insurance too. Enter the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. The Name Your Price tool puts you in charge of your auto insurance by working just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, then they'll show you a variety of coverages that fit within your budget, giving you options. Now that's something you'll want to press play on. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be easy to choose the best option for you fast. It's just one of the many ways you can save with Progressive Insurance. Quote today at progressive.com to try the Name Your Price tool for yourself and join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There is one thing that all great teams, coaches, players, and even podcasters have in common, and that is preparation. Planning is key in everyday life, too, and a great way to be prepared for the unexpected is to join Air Medcare Network, America's largest air ambulance membership network. Air Medcare Network providers operate state-of-the-art helicopters capable of responding to critically ill or injured patients in need of emergency medical transport. But when you're an AMCN member, you won't see a bill for your flight only when flown by one of their providers. That's right. You pay nothing. Zero. Zilch. Join Air Medcare Network's more than 3 million members. It's just $99 per year. And right now, our listeners get up to an $80 MasterCard or Amazon e-gift card when they join and use offer code FNL. Make sure the Air Medcare Network team is protecting your family and your finances. Visit airmedcarenetwork.com/FNL today. That's airmedcarenetwork.com/FNL.
Where do we want to go next?
All right, you want to finish out this whole Swede-uation?
The Swede-uation?
Wow, I liked it. I
like
thought
the
that was cool.
the Swede-uation. This is our new
Yeah.
hashtag. Everybody out there listening, if you can, hammer
Good
those
luck
comment
spelling
section
it.
and the rate and review section with hashtag Swede-uation.
Yeah. Oh, well. So, yeah, you know, Julie's like following her young love, little puppy dog crush. She goes to see this guy. She convinces Lois to drive her
He's
to a bar.
exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I'm not even shitting on the Swede right now. And you know, she convinces Lois. We get a big Lois sighting.
We
get
should have had
Lois
even,
lines.
We should have had even more Lois.
Well, I'm sure.
I'll tell
she's
you
in the
after. I'll
script.
tell you after.
Okay, but also what you're forgetting here is that Coach runs into Grandma Saracen and Saracen at the grocery store, and Grandma Saracen's like, "Oh, Coach, I'm so excited!" And what I also really love is that Kyle Chandler's all sweaty in that scene. I'm like, I love that. But anyway, then I love and he's all cute, and I'm like, another one looking hot in this episode. And then to you, he's like, you all right, basically, another one of those. And then he's like, you should fight for her, basically, or whatever. And then he gives you the handshake. And so it's like kind of cool because he's like, oh, look, someone's like not shitting on Saracen for the first time in a long time. And then you kind of like get it up and you ask her to go to this party with you. You sack
Your
up,
confidence.
you get it up.
You get your confidence up.
Ask her,
your-
sure, whatever, it. And like you ask her to go to this party, and she's kind of like, yeah, no, I'll try. And you're like, okay, but please. And she's like, okay, yeah, totally. And then of course, Julie says, oh, I'm going to this party, Lois. And then that's where we get into the problem because the Swede-uation has said, I'm playing this cool show,
And then he's
so
really
she
rocking
chooses
out.
this-
I mean, he is no Crucifix
Yo,
Victorious.
I was like, I'm embarrassed, but I'm like, this sounds good.
He was really sweaty too.
Well, I wasn't making fun of him as like
the-
an actor. You thought that song was good.
I liked the song.
Did
I
you
thought it
like
was
the
good.
sweaty
There you go.
Swede? He was so sweaty.
He was so sweaty, and the problem is he had a very 2000 haircut, and that's hard to see past.
It's
hard
the
to get
aughts,
past.
baby. It's the aughts.
But he's an attractive man for sure. But the music, I was like, I like this.
The Swede turns out to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And, throughout this episode, one of the main storylines is Coach trying to come home to what he hopes is an unchanged situation, right? And we go through this as actors, right? We have to pick up and go somewhere. We don't really have a choice. We're trying to support our family. We're trying to support whatever life that we're living at the time. And we have to leave things behind that we really care about to go do that. Now, sometimes you're fortunate enough to take your family with you. But in this case, Tammy really felt strongly that she needed to stay behind. And Julie was very happy to stay too. But that old saying, you can never go home, happens to Coach. He comes back to an entirely changed situation. And one of the main parts of that is his daughter is harboring a lot of angst against him. She wanted to stay in Dillon, but she's mad at him because he's gone. And she says so much the first time they kind of have a talk on the couch. She's like, what's going on with Saracen? She's like, you don't get to ask me big life questions. You're gone for 8 months, and then you show back up here. That's not what this is going to be.
Well, here again, where Coach Taylor is doing. I mean, like he's got a phone. He could call his daughter and
Totally.
chitty chat with her.
But there is a chitty chat that's pretty great. And we talked to Amy Teagarden, and she talked specifically about this particular scene.
Oh,
She
yeah.
told us that this
is a
scene,
boss move.
with them together in the car, she said this is very emotional. The age that she was and what she was going through in her own life, she said, I only want to do this once. I don't want to do it more than one take. And Jeffrey
Wow.
Reiner was like, okay, one take, let's go.
Whoa.
And it's not exactly as scripted. And her and Kyle in that scene are wonderful. He's like, look, I have to leave tomorrow because he got a surprise phone call. He's supposed to be home for 2 weeks. The team is like, no, you have to come back. He has zero choice. He has to go.
Gotta go.
He has no control
Gotta
over
go.
that. And he's like, I have to go, and I want to know that when I go, I want to know what's going on with my daughter and that everything's going to be okay. And she finally breaks down, and she owns up to everything. She says, I came here chasing a boy, and he has a girlfriend, and I'm so embarrassed. And he's like, why would you do that? She says, because I am scared to death that I'm going to become you. That
Yeah.
me and Matt are the perfect story and going to be just like you and Mom. And I want more from my life than that. And it's a recurring theme with all these kids. And she is awesome in the scene. And he is so great, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What do you think about his response back to her?
I mean, I love it. You know, what's cool about it is they have that relationship where, you know, he'll get mad as dads do, and she's able to, like, say, here's the humanity of what I did. I recognize I made a mistake, but I'm human. And then it kind of, like, gets through his dad rage, and he hears her. He respects her enough to hear her. And then it's like, okay, you're still grounded, but no,
Yeah. I mean, he
I'm not
says,
as mad.
if you're not with Matt, no one's going to love you any less. I
Yeah.
promise you that. If you want something else for yourself, go find it. And this other guy, he just sounds like some other guy, so forget about him.
Yeah.
You know, this is all about you and how brilliant and special you are. And I think that scene I loved. What about you, May?
Yeah, I think it's great. And I mean, it's something we've talked about before where you know, I love the idea of parents being able to see their kids as people and being able to cut through the stuff and kind of like in those moments knowing that your kid is going to be able to call. I mean, I love when Coach says earlier before the night even happens, like, if Lois even so much looks at a drop of alcohol, call me and I'll come and get you. And I just like, I love that she has that resource, and it doesn't mean, you know, she's not grounded or she's not in trouble or blah, blah, blah. But in that moment, he knows that it's important to be there for her and to like let her express this part, because it really is like it's a really vulnerable moment for her. And I was excited that he was able to like show up for her in that way. I think it made for a very special scene.
Yeah, I loved it too. That scene where he's like, be home at 10:30. She's like, Mom said 11. And then she's like, I'll see you at 11:30.
Yeah.
He's like, where are your shoes? And then she says, I'm not wearing shoes, Dad. I was like,
Yeah, I
wait a
didn't
minute.
even understand.
Hold
that.
on,
That
wait,
was like-
what? Why? What?
So
would,
she went to that bar without shoes on?
why would she not?
Maybe her shoes were they were in Lois's car.
Oh.
All I know is I often don't wear shoes places, so I feel defensive.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
In
So-
the script, it makes sense. Because in the script, she's supposed to just be going to the
To the
lake
party.
Oh.
where the team is, where Matt Saracen has asked her, will you please come? In the script, she says, I'll be there. And she goes.
I like that says, I'm not sure. She goes?
She goes in the script. She goes with Lois to the lake house party. And they have a big talk. And then she tells you she needs space. And she
What?
leaves. And when she
Then
leaves,
goes to the bar?
and when she leaves in the script, Lois, when they first get there, is like, oh, God, there's Tim Riggins. He slept with 80% of the town. Well, then Lois has a whole scene with Riggins where she starts hitting on him, and they start to kind of make out a little bit,
Oh
and then
my
Julie
God.
rips Lois away from Riggins, and she's like, when they get to the bar later, she's like, I cannot believe you ripped me out of Tim Riggins' arms to bring me to this place. I've got to go home. I'm out of here. And that was the actual
Wow.
scene. So when they get to the bar, Lois is so obviously 80-yard. When she's like, why are we here? Like, it's
Oh.
not even like what her lips are saying. It's just like
Wow.
they had to change it because
Yeah.
there was a whole scene with Julie and Matt.
Did you
at
film
the
that?
lake
Did you
house.
film that scene,
I-
Zachary Michael?
Don't remember.
Of course, because it's not only football, it's memories or lack thereof.
It's memories. Lack thereof.
But yeah, so I thought like maybe they just kind of left that in on accident because I'm not wearing shoes makes sense if you're going to a lake house for like a lake party or
Yeah.
whatever.
That also helps me a lot too because when Coach shows up and says, "Why am I picking up my daughter at a bar at 12:30 in the morning?" I was like, "What? How long was she at this show?" Because if Lois was there, like picks her up at 7, say, and they go to it's like a 5 hour. It's like
did a 29 song set.
Yeah, it's like Grateful
3
Dead.
hours of him just like fishing it.
Wow.
Okay, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna say there's one other mini storyline. It's Lila's storyline. Like she has found God.
Oh
she
yeah,
has
she
some
loves Jesus. She's baptized. She's in
She's
the
got
river.
some great sass with her mom.
dunking.
That stuff was killing me.
I love that when she says something about like God give us the strength to remember that moms shouldn't wear skinny jeans.
Yeah.
I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh,
yes.
that prayer. Please give
iconic.
us the wisdom to understand we should not prey on recently single mothers who are still not yet divorced, and also the wisdom for single mothers to know they should not be wearing skinny jeans.
I love that no one is like Lyla. They're just like enjoy the food. Like
Yeah.
they just sort of let it go.
Let's just eat our kale.
Yeah,
And then what was the other exchange she has with Taylor about? She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna just
So
enjoy my
good.
debauchery.
No, he says, okay, well, enjoy Jesus. And she says to him, enjoy your debauchery and hedonism. And then he's like, oh, I will. And she goes, so will I. I mean, I'll enjoy Jesus. Ah, jerk. And then
Discreet
walks away.
Discalier, baby.
Yeah, exactly. The spirit of the stairs.
She knows.
You know, I love this for Lyla, actually, the direction that she goes in. The baptism scene is shot beautifully. It's in a local river right outside of Austin. And they're actually, you know, like, it's pretty cool that they're, like, in this actual flowing river, and she's washing away everything. She's no longer a part of cheer. Her and her dad have a very fraught relationship at this, and she is doing something in the name of taking a chance on herself, finding faith, doing all these things. I love the exploration of this whole storyline for her.
Also,
and this
the
is
hot.
beginning of it.
How about that hot part where, like, the beginning when she's handing out the flyers about Jesus, and she's like, Tim's like, I
The
want a
Christian
flyer,
teen
and then,
messenger
like,
flyers.
Yeah, and he's like, what is this? Some kind of cult? And then like he's like, all right, well, you know, and he says the thing about having the three-way, and he's like, just remember, you know, you're number one, best I ever had, and I'm just like, that is so rude and so hot.
But
How
then
dare
Lyla
you?
says, don't talk to me like that,
Yeah,
which I love too. I mean,
Very hot as well.
yeah.
You
all
can
of
feel it. It's building, baby.
All
You
of
can
it.
Feel it.
The
It's
Lyla
coming.
and Riggins chemistry is so close, one spark away from just exploding at
Yeah,
this
baby.
point. But she's going to be very conflicted. Very, very conflicted. You don't really see much of Smash in this episode.
No.
The reason being, under review, they removed an entire recruiting storyline. The whole reason the team is partying at a giant lake house is because a recruiter shows up at his door, and Mama Smash is like, yo, you need to get the hell out of here. We're waiting until Division I schools offer later in November. So you and your Division II ass can get out of here. And Smash is like, hold on, Mom, let me talk to him. And he goes to this guy's hotel room, and he's like, yo, you can help me out this weekend. And he gets the lake house. And another scene that happens at the lake house that was in the script that they removed that I really actually miss is this whole removal of being a captain from Saracen really shakes you on the football team. So you're dealing with Julie externally, and then internally with the football team, you're no longer a captain. And Smash is super cocky about everything. The coach has changed the offense to run completely through him. You're going to be really just relegated to third
Just gonna be
fiddle at
handing
this
balls
point.
off.
And you tell Coach Taylor that in the grocery store, actually. That's the first thing you tell him when he sees you. You tell him that the offense is changing. He's pulled your captaincy, that, you know, you're upset. You actually say to him, he's changing your offense, coach, which, like, shows your connection and desire to still have Coach Taylor there. And then you tell him about Julie. So when he says the line to you, don't just stand back and watch it happen, son. It could mean football or Julie.
Yeah, but I thought I got that even in the way it was.
Well, I'm glad you did. You're good at book club. I'm not, apparently. But the lake house, there is a scene where Julie's left. She told you she needs space, and Smash starts going in on you. And they're all on the lake. But you turned basically, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you turned to him, and you're like, why are you being so cocky? Why are you such an asshole all of a sudden? Just because coach says, oh, we're going to run the ball all the time, and you're the only captain, doesn't mean you get to treat people like crap. And then you start to walk away. You turn back around and you go, I also don't like the way you give people free ice cream at work. And I've always got to clean up after you, and you're outside signing autographs and flirting with girls, and I'm cleaning the fry machine. And stop calling yourself the Smash. It's dumb. And he's like, hey, boys, I think Saracen needs to cool off a little bit. and they pick you up and throw you in the lake. Oh, man, I want this scene. Did they shoot it?
I think we did.
He doesn't remember.
He's
not well. Look at his outfit. You can see that there's a problem.
I'm going to be looking at it
Trying
all
things
season
out, you know?
long.
Yeah, this is.
It's not right.
You got to give the people what they want, and they wanted something new.
I don't think they wanted this, but what
It's
do I know?
the season 2's outfit for the whole time.
It can't be.
Oh, no. Anything else we need to wrap up? It's just
No, let's hit the big.
well, Coach and Tammy, when he tells Tammy that he has to leave on Friday, he's made her
Oh, she's so
cookies, and
upset.
she's like, "You're so nice to me," and then he has to deliver the news that he has to leave on Friday.
Oh, that was. Oh, okay. We can talk about
Shame
this.
cookies.
Yeah.
Because then when she gets upset and he just says, "I'll be back in a little bit."
I could
If
not
I-
believe
I-
it.
I couldn't believe. You know, if I pulled that, Keely would say, "You could be back in no bit. You can be gone. You can stay
Yeah,
gone."
there's a divorce lawyer on the phone.
You
already,
would
on
never.
retainer.
no.
You would never come home from being away for so long for work, and it doesn't matter how severe the fight is. You don't leave the house.
No, it's fucked up.
Oh, you have a 2-day-old baby.
And if you need a minute to cool
What?
off, if you're
Yeah.
pissed, if you're whatever,
Walk
you
around the
say,
backyard.
Baby, I love you so much. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to take a shit. I'm going to go for a walk around the backyard. I'll be right back. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute.
But the pain on Kyle's face when he's telling her, and then Connie's silent, just emoting for the rest of the scene is so
She goes
heartbreaking.
there.
Oh my God. It's wonderful in like the hardest way. I mean, God, whatever. I mean, we may have had a hiatus, but the two of them are on their A game. Like, I feel like I had to like definitely shake off the dust. Like I don't think I was very good at the start of this second season, but the two of them are just shining examples of just like never missing a beat. I mean, they are just the bedrock of this show, and that scene shows it. Coach leaves and goes to Buddy's office.
Yeah, and then
They
Buddy
have a whole
gets a
scene.
fight.
Yeah, blah,
Buddy
blah,
says
blah, blah, blah.
kids are turning into communists, and this.
He's watching Caesar Milan. Caesar's saying be a
Yeah, he's watching that dog show. Oh gosh. Anyway, okay. That's pretty much it. I do love Brad's. None of that scripted. He's calling him a tree hugger, a granola maker, or.
He like attacks him. It's like so intense. I'm
Did
like,
you
what
bring
is
him
this?
here? Is he in
was
my truck? You in my
fuming.
truck? Brad's great in that scene, though.
Brad's amazing.
Brad is
Brad's
wonderful in
amazing
that
at
scene.
everything.
Okay. All right. Anything
Okay.
we left out, let us know in the comments. We are jumping into the most anticipated for Zach, apparently, storyline of the season. I am nervous. Go ahead, Zach.
No, well, look, we all know what happens. I think the beginning of it. Okay, this is in rewatching it. These are my feelings,
Okay.
and I said this to you earlier today or yesterday or something. This storyline, I think, was done very well.
Right.
It was acted well. It was shot well. It just wasn't our show. Like the story wasn't our show, but the way we did it was our show. And even, you know, the leading up to it, like Tyra thinking she's seeing this guy all the time like that, I buy, and it seems super real. And
Yeah.
Landry being there for her in the way in which she is, oh my God, like the story with them on the
I
couch
know.
in that scene and him calling Matt for advice is hysterical.
It's amazing.
but
The
it's-
skunk, that whole thing.
Yeah, that's all
But-
this show. And then it's just, to me, it's like this. But this show isn't the one where some guy's truly
No.
stalking her and then like tries to murder her. Or
And there's
rape her
running
again.
off the road. You're
Yeah.
like, what? But I will say, to piggyback on that, I'm like, I had the same thing written in my notes where I'm like, obviously this is unhinged, but like, I will say that the guy has it coming. And like Jesse does such a good job acting it, and so does it. Like, I was like, they're both so good in reacting. Also, her haircut, perfection.
Yeah.
She looks incredible.
But the scene of them on the, like, this is the thing. Like you were saying. Sorry, did I cut you off, May?
No, you did
Oh,
not.
okay. It's the like this decision of like, well, I guess we gotta get rid of this body.
I know,
I'm like, no,
I
you
know.
call the cops. It's kind of some of those wonky decisions that they make, which again, I'm like, it's not really the way our show works, but okay. But that scene
Yeah.
I remembered so vividly. That scene of them on the bridge where they're like just kind of like crying silently / like, what do we do? Like thinking about throwing them over the, like, it was just, they're amazing. I can't think of any other actors to pull this off. And I remember saying it to them then when I watched it, saying, I thank God it was you two.
Yeah.
And watching it again, I have the same feeling. And I know, in talking to Jesse, he told me, he was like, look, man, this just didn't. I thought this was wonky, but I loved this show so much. And both Annie are like, we just have to go there. We just have to commit to it. And I'm going to regale you a little longer. And the reason why they're so smart and mature at that age, it took me a while. Like, I got cocky for a while in my career. I was on a show that I was not very proud of, and there was a scene that I thought was very soapy, and I kind of was rolling my eyes through it. And the director said, don't do that. Don't do that. You have to, like, commit to it. And I was like, but it's, the guy's being casual. He's like, no. It's so, like, lame if you just kind of, like, say the words. You have to do the melodrama because this is a melodrama. And I did it for him, and I was like, yeah, that was better. It's not the kind of thing I like to do, but he was so right. And so for them, they were like, this isn't this doesn't feel like our show, but if they wrote it for me, if this is what I got to do it right.
Yep.
Yeah,
They did.
and not only are they so brilliant at the end of the story, they are brilliant all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many scenes, and I forgot in season 1 how much groundwork had already been laid for the two of them to have a real, honest friendship, relationship that felt like it maybe could even evolve. They do such a good job, the writers, in this episode of balancing the menace and of what's happening around Tyra with the comedy and the lightness of her friendship with Landry. She's scared at the house alone. He comes over to be her knight in shining armor, as she says. It ends up being a skunk. He's like, it's a skunk.
Funny.
Let me in the front. Oh, my gosh. He calls Matt from the toilet. He's like, I've got about 30 seconds. I need some advice on how I put my arm around someone. And Matt's response is, does she want you to touch her? Which I love.
And I also love you being like, yeah, Julie never showed up and I'm really disappointed. And he's like, so not paying attention. He's like, that's great, man. I'm happy for you. I'll talk to you later. Like, he just totally blows you over. He doesn't even care. He's
it doesn't matter.
dealing with
I'm
his shit.
sitting on the couch. I'm watching Fried Green Tomatoes with Tyra. And I think things are really going in a positive direction here. And it does. It seems like, he reaches over and he's like, he doesn't know how to. He's brushing her with the back of his hand.
God.
I'm like, whoa, this is so.
Jesus.
That's the brilliance of Jesse, just like physically in that moment, what he's doing. And she's like, hey, you want to go get snacks? I mean, it's just like, it's such like a
so
high
easy
school
to
friendship.
friendship.
I remember that with friends, just being like, it's 11, I'm hungry. Let's walk to
Yeah.
Albertsons and get some Star Crunches and Surge.
Surge.
And she sends him inside, and she's like, the Colette account is a little overdue, so you're all on your own. And I just want to warn everybody out there, the next scene we're going to talk about may have some triggering content, but an attempted assault again happens. This guy that we're not sure if he's been following her all episode. I think the show did a really masterful job of being like, is this in her head? Is this something that's really happening?
Oh, for sure.
That self-doubt, they really kind of played that up in a heartbreaking way. And then, he says so much. How was the movie?
Yeah. Ugh.
Oof.
He was just sitting out in bushes with that skunk. He probably stinks. He probably got sprayed.
I hope he
Yeah,
did.
get him.
I hope he did get him.
Yeah.
Well, then Landry does get him. And like you said,
Oh.
May, it's deserved.
Yeah.
I just don't understand his Landry's dad is a cop. Self-defense is
But the problem
very...
is they'll be like, oh, first of all, they're teenagers. Second of all, like, what they'll do the thing where they'll be like, well, it shows from the injuries that he was walking away. Was he walking away? Like, Landry does charge him while he's walking away. I'm just saying.
Well, but
there's
he
a
could have been on
chance.
top of Tyra, and Landry could have come up from behind him.
Have you ever heard of a blood spatter analysis, bro?
He turns
Yeah.
and says the words, I will be back for you.
Yes.
Like,
that's
I
true.
mean, like, I don't know.
I get.
it's-
I'm on your side. I'm the one who said it. He had it coming.
The
I'm
moment
like,
I'm with it all the way through this, as far as like, I mean, it happens. And is it our show? No. Beautifully performed. The characters are acting as they should. I mean, they are so. I mean, these are character actions for all of them. This is not out of character for Landry
what's
to come
out of
to
character is the cover-up.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. That
he
moment
does
on
say
the bridge.
he tries. He
Yeah.
tries. He does say, I'm going to call my dad. He's a cop. And Tyra's like, no.
However, I think this is where people get such an issue with it, is because the show was the success of it, the beauty of it was the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's just having a hard time buying that these two characters would make this decision in this moment.
Yeah.
It's also just an extreme. I mean, you go from the intensity of the show being from these small, very human moments to the intensity of the show being like murder. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, I guess that's the threshold.
And as Zach said in the finale of season 1, you can't improv out of murder.
Can't improv out of murder. You're dead. There's no yes and in there.
Finger claps from May happening right now. Very speakeasy response, but yes, give Zach all his flowers for that particular line. I loved it. So did everybody else out there. I know they didn't love this particular storyline, but here we are, and we're heading down the path of it.
Yes,
That moment of silence for the two of them on the bridge, as Zach said earlier, so intense, and just two people in the most adrenaline-fueled moment, communicating with each other without words, really.
And also, I mean, you guys know, but for our audience, you may not know, that would be really hard scene to do, because it's not as if they just filmed the act and then getting him in the car. It's like you have to, like, they probably filmed one thing one night, one another. They might have had to film that before they actually killed the guy. And
even if they had, it would be like summoning up that kind of a thing, especially for something so out of character. I mean, my God, that's like, on Good Girls, we had to pretend we were about to be killed all the time, and we were just like, oh, ow, our bodies, it hurts, I don't know, how do we, it's like, I can't imagine, like, that is such, they go to the deepest place of true, you do really find that they both are very genuine to what that moment might look like if it were real,
And they did it, and I felt it. I know Zach did, and May did as well. But that's how the episode ends for the most part. We'll move into overtime, because there is one little last scene that feels so oddly shoehorned in. And my overtime is, you've seen the state championship ring. I've talked about it before. This is the episode where I walked off a set with it. If you see in this scene, old players, and this is a tradition that happens at a lot of different schools across this country, old championship winners from old championship teams from Dillon High have returned to give the players from this particular Dillon Panthers team their rings. And it's very, very cool to see. And I wish the moment would have landed bigger for me, but the way they put it in. Now, the initial altercation between this guy, Mike, and Tyra happened in the middle of Mud Bowl. And they were able to thread the needle of, like, the elation of the game and the fear and the horrifying stuff that was happening to Tyra. They were intermixing it, and it really worked. But in this one, they put this scene in the middle of Landry murdering a guy and then them dumping his body over a bridge. And it kind of felt like I was a little bummed, like, watching it. I mean,
well, but
for many reasons, but like,
it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a somber scene. I mean, with the Wilco song over it. And because it is, this happy moment is not all that happy. A, because of what's going on with Landry and Tyra. B, because Matt's going through all his stuff.
C, because Coach is not the coach anymore.
Is not, like, it's
like the parade, that scene where there's the parade and you're like, look, haha, we're celebrating. And then it scrolls past all the people who are not having a
You're right. Time. And Lyla's sitting in the stands.
Exactly.
She's in a different position. Riggins is definitely not the same guy he was. So you're completely right. So they accomplished their goal then, because I wish it would have been a more celebratory thing.
You were off your book club skills this episode.
I guess I was. No, I was all up in my feelings. I just wanted that to be like a really
puts
cool.
Puts on a tiger sweater
moment.
once, bro. You're not. It's not that deep.
This makes me smarter. All right, I got a super quick overtime.
Yeah.
Is I texted you guys this photo a couple weeks ago. I've been saving it. I will post it on socials, but I pulled up to my house a couple weeks ago, and we have a new
the best
woman helping us out with our children. And I park behind this car, and there's a bumper sticker. I know it's her car. I just never really parked behind it before. And I park behind it. There's a bumper sticker that says, "My driving is worse than the second season of Friday Night Lights." That's amazing. I'm not going to let you drive my children anywhere.
Okay, my quick overtime is I would like to, in the comments rate review, I never know what to say there, but the radio review comment parts, can you explain to me what the is going on with Scott Porter's sunglasses in this episode? Bro, what is going on? I don't know what's more offensive, Zach's outfit or your sunglasses.
You don't need the comment section to tell you it this week because somebody had already written in, and a very small press box here, somebody wrote in from Britain, and they said, because I was railing on my sunglasses at the end of last season when I became the quarterbacks coach for Saracen, and they wrote in and they said, wraparound Oakleys are a uniquely American problem.
So funny.
I thought that was hilarious. The
really
other little
good.
press box note, I am starting the counter. Coach Taylor said, the fact of the matter is, twice this episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And, yeah. The fact of the matter is was said twice to his own family members in this particular episode. And you know what? I did forget about him flying away. The final scene is him flying away. And you're right. That whole end of the show, it's just such a downer
that's insane.
for a season premiere. But I guess that's what we do.
Well, here, I'll tell you
The pilot episode wasn't exactly happy.
Let's track if this is true, because my memory was with this show, it either would start happy and end sad, or start sad and end happy.
Cool.
Okay. Well, for everybody out there listening, keep track of that with
Book
us.
club.
Is it going to start sad and end happy in season 2? We'll find out next week as we continue on with our journey of going through season 2 of Friday Night Lights. We've got some exciting interviews on the way, including Jesse Plemons. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, everybody out there listening. If there's any scenes we missed from this particular episode, or are there any questions that you have for myself or Zach or May, please do so in the Apple Podcast rate and review section. While you're there, review the pod if you feel so inclined. Hit that subscribe button. It helps the show. Download every Thursday. And if you're over on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button, hit that bell to make sure you're notified of whenever a new episode drops. Spoiler alert, every Thursday morning, bright
You got to
and
see this
early.
jacket. You trust me. Go to YouTube.
Yeah,
You got to see
go to
what Zach's
YouTube,
trying to pass
check
off.
out
It's-
this new
it's-
outfit. I can't
help
wait
us.
for 2024 Halloween for people to be
Just go
dressing
pick
up.
up a tiger
as Zach
costume and
then.
call it a day.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next week with another episode of It's Not Only Football Friday Night Lights and Beyond. And until we do, we say, clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Peace.